Listen to me. Right now, in this very moment, somebody is trying to steal your peace. They're trying to get under your skin, into your head, and throw you off your game. And here's the truth that most people won't tell you. You're letting them. You're giving away your power like it's spare change. And I'm here to tell you today that your peace, your power, your purpose, it's too valuable to hand over to anyone who knows how to push a button. So the question isn't whether people will try to disturb you. The question is, are you going to let them? Now, I want you to understand something fundamental about life. Life is not happening to you. It's happening for you. And every single person, every situation, every test that comes your way is asking you one question: who are you? Not who you say you are, not who you think you are, but who you are when the pressure is on. And here's what I've learned: the person who stays calm in chaos, that's the person who wins. Not because they don't care, but because they care enough about themselves not to be moved by everything that moves around them. See, most people think emotional detachment means you become cold. They think it means you stop caring, you stop feeling, you become some kind of robot walking through life. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not power, that's emptiness. What I'm talking about is a different kind of strength. I'm talking about the ability to feel everything, see everything, and still maintain your center. I'm talking about loving people without losing yourself. I'm talking about being in the fire without becoming the fire. You want to know what real power looks like? Real power is when somebody disrespects you and you don't have to disrespect them back. Real power is when you can hear the gossip, see the betrayal, feel the pain, and still walk with your head up and your spirit intact. Real power is being able to say, I see you, I hear you, but you don't get to define me. You don't get to derail me, and you certainly don't get to steal my joy. But here's what happens to most people. They get emotionally attached to outcomes. They get emotionally attached to opinions. They get emotionally attached to people who were never meant to stay. And then they wonder why they're exhausted. They wonder why they're drained. They wonder why they can't seem to move forward. It's because they're carrying what they were supposed to release. They're holding on to what they were supposed to let go. Let me tell you something about peace. Peace is not the absence of chaos. Peace is the presence of God in the middle of chaos. Peace is not what happens when everything is going right. Peace is what you carry when everything is going wrong. And when you understand that, when you really get that, you realize that nothing outside of you can take what lives inside of you. Your peace is internal. Your power is internal. Your purpose is internal. And the moment you understand that, you become untouchable. Now, I'm going to tell you why people get upset when you stay calm. It's because your calmness reveals their chaos. Your peace exposes their turmoil. When you refuse to react the way they expect you to react, when you refuse to play the game they want you to play, it disrupts their entire strategy. See, people who operate in chaos need you to be chaotic. People who thrive in drama need you to be dramatic. And when you refuse to give them what they're looking for, you take away their power over you. This is what emotional detachment does. It protects your energy. It guards your peace. It preserves your power. Because every time you engage with something that doesn't deserve your energy, you're making a withdrawal from your purpose. Every argument you don't need to have, every person you don't need to convince, every situation you don't need to control, that's all energy that could be going toward your destiny. And your destiny is too important to be distracted by people who are going nowhere. But here's what you need to understand. Emotional detachment requires spiritual maturity. It requires you to know who you are. It requires you to be so secure in your identity that other people's opinions don't shake you. It requires you to be so confident in your path that other people's paths don't confuse you. It requires you to be so clear about your purpose that other people's problems don't consume you. And this is the work. This is the daily practice. This is what separates those who succeed from those who struggle. Because the difference between a powerful person and a powerless person is not what happens to them. It's how they respond to what happens to them. The powerful person responds from a place of peace. The powerless person reacts from a place of pain. The powerful person makes decisions based on where they're going. The powerless person makes decisions based on where they've been. So today, I need you to make a decision. I need you to decide that you're no longer going to give your power away. I need you to decide that you're no longer going to let people rent space in your head for free. I need you to decide that your peace is not negotiable. Your joy is not up for debate. Your purpose is not something that can be derailed by someone who doesn't even know their own purpose. See, when you master emotional detachment, something shifts. You stop being reactive and you start being responsive. You stop being controlled and you start being confident. You stop being moved by everything and you start being anchored in something. And that something is bigger than any circumstance, bigger than any person, bigger than any problem you'll ever face. I'm talking about being so grounded in who you are that when the wind blows, you bend but you don't break. I'm talking about being so rooted in your truth that when lies come, they can't take root. I'm talking about being so filled with light that when darkness shows up, it has to flee. And here's the beautiful thing about this journey. Every time you choose peace over panic, you're building spiritual muscle. Every time you choose silence over slander, you're demonstrating divine wisdom. Every time you choose to detach from the drama and attach to your destiny, you're declaring to the universe, I know who I am, I know where I'm going, and I know that nothing can stop me unless I give it permission. So let me leave you with this truth. The calm person in the room is not the weakest person in the room. The calm person is the most powerful person in the room because they've mastered themselves. They've conquered their emotions. They've disciplined their reactions. And they've decided that their peace is more valuable than being right, more important than being heard, more powerful than being understood. You have a choice today. You can continue to give your power away to people who don't deserve it. Or you can reclaim your power, guard your peace, and walk in the fullness of who you were created to be. The choice is yours. But I'm telling you, stay calm, stay powerful, and watch how your life transforms when you master the art of emotional detachment. Listen to me carefully. Between every action directed at you and your response to it, there exists a sacred space, a gap, a moment, and in that moment lives your entire destiny. Most people don't even know this space exists. They go through life on autopilot, reacting instantly to everything that comes their way. Someone says something disrespectful, they fire back immediately. Someone cuts them off in traffic, they explode. Someone questions their ability, they go into defense mode. They've given away their power before they even realize they had a choice. But you need to understand that this space, this pause, this breath between what happens to you and how you respond is where your sovereignty lies. This is where you exercise your dominion. This is where you prove that you are not a puppet dancing on someone else's strings. Because here's the truth that will set you free. Chaos cannot control what it cannot provoke. Read that again. Chaos cannot control what it cannot provoke. When you learn to live in that space, when you train yourself to pause before you respond, something miraculous happens. You stop being a victim of circumstances and you become the architect of your responses. You stop giving people the satisfaction of knowing they can push your buttons. You stop allowing external events to dictate your internal state. And that's when you become dangerous in the best way possible. Dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to chaos, dangerous to anyone or anything that tries to knock you off your path. That pause is not weakness. That silence is not surrender. That moment of stillness before you speak or act is pure, concentrated power. It's you choosing your response instead of being chosen by your impulses. It's you taking back control of your life, one intentional decision at a time. And every time you practice this, every time you create that space between stimulus and response, you're declaring to the universe, I am not controlled by what happens around me. I am guided by what lives within me.